being a magnet to bad things that happen. So how to be a king and a queen? Well, first, treat yourself with love and respect, which a lot of people are definitely not doing today, nor do they have respect for other people. The other thing is to honor that inner part of yourself, that intuition part of yourself. We all know when we get intuition that it's always right. It's just that we're too lazy sometimes to listen to it, or our conscious programming overrides our that inner wisdom, that instinct within ourselves of how to live our life. And so I since you've known me for such a long time, I will tell you that I didn't treat myself like a queen for many, many years. For example, I've been a professional speaker over 30 years, and it's only in the last 10 years that I demanded first class flights to go speak to people, because there was some little part of me that was afraid that if I asked for first class, I wouldn't get the job. And then one day I had a particularly bad flight, and I made a decision that I was tired of always being the last on the list, the one who always took the hit. I was tired of not honoring myself and treating myself well during this, really hard travel, and that if I couldn't go first class, I really didn't need to go. And the shocking thing happened, Gail, is that when I put first class in my contracts as a professional speaker, not one person complained. I never lost one gig because I was first class. And the only person who didn't treat me like a queen was me. That,
That's so
I was,
true.
yeah, and so that's just a simple little example to show you that I wasn't the queen of my own life because there was this insecurity of, oh, I could lose the money, or, other people aren't getting it. And now it's so normal for me to fly first class. And I'm not trying to brag about that because I travel so much that it's a survival technique just to have first class, to be quite honest. But it's in many areas of our life, it's like we'll be the rescuers of other people, we'll give and nurture ourselves, we'll work ourselves to the bone giving for other people, but we won't do for ourselves. And that's what I mean about being the king and the queen, that you must, there has to be a fair exchange for value for everything. You cannot just always give and then expect the well to be full. Your well will go dry. Your health will suffer. Your self-esteem will suffer. And by the way, women are very famous for this. They underbid, in a job often because they're so afraid if I'm not the cheapest person on the list, I won't get the job. And that's not treating yourself with the acknowledgement that you come to the table, with everything that you need to be successful. And when I shifted that 10 years ago, Gail, everything in my life shifted in the sense of people actually treated me with much more respect. I got more top billings. I got more, keynote addresses in big conventions. Publishers are coming out of the woodwork for me to write books for them. It's when I shifted inside that I know how hard I work. I know what I bring to the table. I know that my information is very quality information. It's not fluff. It's not all stories. It really is good, practical, money making, manifesting information. And that when I accepted that about myself, the world shifted and treats me so much better. And that's what I really want people to know, is that all change has to be within themselves. Even in a bad relationship with someone, if you change, they change. If you
Well,
become
that's
worse,
true.
they become worse. But if you become better, if you're forgiving and just observing and don't take it personally, a zebra is a zebra. If they treat everybody the same way, don't take it personally. They
Well, that's
change.
true. And of course, people always think that they can change another person, and the only person you can really change is yourself. And hopefully, some of that will rub off on the other person, but it's very hard to change anybody else. But you also you talk about tools like repatterning and mental rehearsal and scripting. So, what are they like, and how can people utilize those?
Okay, well, my favorite is the mental rehearsal. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, he can achieve, and that's a Napoleon Hill quote, and that's really true. I and you have achieved great things in our life because we take the time to get extremely clear about exactly what we want. And then we create images in our mind and we start, success is not like reading a book. Like you start at the beginning, you go to the middle, you go to the end. Success is backwards. When you want something in life, you have to go to the end result of what you want. You have to see it clearly. You have to then go backwards and create a plan of action to actually obtain that. What education do I need? What um, you know, what people do I need to connect to? What is it that I need to do to be able to achieve that? And then see yourself do it so that you have the courage and the guts and the cojones or whatever you can say if that is the word, to go for what you want. So that's mental rehearsal. And in my book, Reclaim the Magic, I give you very detailed instructions. I'm not a fluff person, as you well know. I'm very detailed about this is how you enact on this tool, and then you will get results. The next thing that I really love is the scripting. And the scripting is a form of goal setting, but a lot more fun. Whereas you write about your future as if it's already happened. So every morning of my life, I get up, and before the whole world is up and I have to answer the phones and be in my business, I literally write the story about Lee Milteer. And it starts off with, and so it was. Lee Milteer, and then I just describe myself as healthy and timeless and beautiful and successful and wealthy and I say all these things about myself because the truth is when I grew up I had this horrific childhood, a very abusive childhood, a very low self-image of myself, and I literally decide to rewire my entire brain. In fact, this entire book, Reclaim the Magic, is about literally it's a brain builder. It helps
Well,
you.
I have to tell you something, though, Lee. I have read some of your other books, not all of them, but some of them. And this book was so different and so unique. And it really, and this is hard for me, it gripped me. I have no other words to say except it gripped me. It was that powerful.
Well, thank you. I've gotten the book made bestseller in May of this past year. It made bestseller in 3 weeks, which was a good sign. The reviews for the book have been phenomenal. It was very very hard for me to talk about my husband being murdered, a brutal childhood that I had, about almost killing myself. It was very, very hard to put that stuff on paper. But what happened to me, Gail, was when I cracked open, so to speak, and really told the authentic truth instead of just, doing the polite thing. Oh, how was your childhood? Oh, it was great. It was greatly horrible.
Mm-hmm.
um, and and then to really tell the truth to everyone, as a woman, of I suffered all these horrible things, and yet because of those things, it made me this unbelievably strong person today. Because one, I'm not afraid of anybody. Secondly, I don't believe anything is unattainable for me if I really want it, because I'm willing to do what it takes to get there. Um, and the book I wrote because I really wanted to. I'm going into the third part of my life, the third act of my life. This is it. This is this is going to be who I am for the rest of my life. For the when you're in your early 20s and 30s, you're just trying to figure out who the hell you are and how do I please everybody. You're like a chameleon. You're always changing. And by the time you get in your 40s, you're like, well, I think I know who I am, but you're still, suffering with and holding on to a lot of baggage that you didn't sign up for, but you own. And then when you get a little bit older, you're like, the hell with this. I am really going to do what I want and be who I am. And if people don't like it, well, have a nice life. I don't care.
Well, that's
And
why I call myself the SOB, Spunky Old Broad,
exactly.
because if people get resentful over that, then they're not my market, and they're not my target, and they're not people who would resonate with me, or I would resonate with them. So it's true. I mean, you do because I certainly changed from being a business speaker and working with companies on, customer service and negotiation and leadership and team building, and then to go off to working with women, especially women over 50. I mean, that was really a change for me. But before we run out of time, which is going to happen in about 2 minutes, I want to give your websites. How would you like people, and where would you like them to go?
Well, I think the easiest thing for them to do is just go to fivetypesofenergy.com. And when you sign up, you'll get the videos. And then you'll get exposed to my newsletter called Spiritual Power Tools for Profit and Purpose. And once you're on my e-zine list, then we'll tell you about the Lee Milteer School of Wisdom, and that is a website, but God, it's long. And we'll tell you about the upcoming events that I'm doing. And I am going to be traveling around the world, taking people to these great places in Vision Quest. And I used to be a professional photographer in another life, and I loved it. And so I'm combining a lot of passions together. And, for women over 50, for women anywhere, I mean, it's really women really need to take back their power in life, find out exactly what they want, and then enact on it, and give up this need for approval from everybody. Because one, you can't get it, and secondly, if you do, you're friggin' exhausted. Forgive my French.
So true.
So
well, I'll tell you something, Lee. It has just been a delight interviewing you today. I mean, I've known Lee for so many, many years, and I've just seen this transformation, and it's a beautiful one. It's almost like a butterfly coming out of its cocoon. So I just have to compliment you. And again, folks, if you really want to find out what Lee is all about, go to Five, and that's spelled out Five, fivetypesofenergy.com. Sign up for her newsletter, see her videos, and you'll get an idea of what she's all about now. And I can't thank you enough for being with us today, Lee. It has been fantastic.
Thank you, Gail. It's always, always, always a pleasure to deal with you.
Thanks.